Budget 4x4s have come a long way. The previous time I truly enjoyed a budget 4x4 was the Guansu, which was way back in 2016. Most budget 4x4s after that usually had one major problem that kills the whole experience. Usually it's reverse corner cutting, but I ran into a few cubes where the cube just pops too much or it's just too slow to turn. In 2019, we are met with the first game changer to the budget 4x4 market, the Yusu v2M. Two other rival cubes, the Meilong 4 and the Little Magic 4, were released shortly after. Just like how Moyi, Yuxin and Qi have formed the three big brands of the flagships, Classroom, YJ and Yuxin have formed the three big brands of the budget cubes, and it's time to pit their cubes against each other. The Yusu v2M is the largest cube of the three, measuring 61.5mm across. Slightly smaller than the standard 62, but it still feels a little bit large and clunky compared to the other two 4x4s. The cube comes very oily and overlooked out of the box. I set it up by cleaning out the stock loop and then adding Kelvin's high viscosity. The Yusu is a very fast cube. It has the lowest friction out of the three budget 4x4s, and the cube has an extremely smooth gliding feel. In general, the Yusu is like a budget version of an Aosu GTS 1.5. It basically mixes characteristics from the Aosu GTS1 and the Aosu GTS2. It has a weight and speed similar to the V1, while the stability is closer, although still a bit less than the V2. The Yusu also sometimes makes a loud clicking noise in the inner layer, which is not common and I don't know how to purposely make it happen. But it's more of an annoyance than an actual performance drawback, and it does not seem to slow down the turning at all. The cube also comes with very weak magnets, which allows for very fast turning. This is rewarding if you are very accurate, but the cube can be a bit slippery at times, and it's generally a bit less reliable and not going to work well with sloppy turn. The Little Magic 4 is quite slow out of the box. At first I thought it was overlooked, so I gave it the same treatment as my Yusu, but it appears that there's actually not that much stock loop inside the cube, and the slower turn speed is just a characteristic of the cube. Breaking it in the cube, however, did speed it up. The Little Magic is about 60mm. It has the widest outer to inner layer ratio, which is an added plus. The turn speed of the Little Magic 4 is the slowest out of all three cubes. It's not exactly slow enough to be bad. In fact, the speed is actually comparable, if not just slower, than my new batch mini Aosu, which is my old main, and it's also one of the fastest cubes before the GTS V1 came out. The Little Magic 4 generally feels like a continuation after the Yuxin Blue 4x4, which I do not have, but I do have the red 6x6 with the 5x5 spring swap, and the Little Magic 4 does feel very similar. And of course, the Little Magic 4 doesn't need spring swap like the original red and blue. The magnets are slightly stronger than the Yusu, but they don't contribute very much to the cube's reliability due to the slower speed and the innate flexibility of the cube. The Little Magic is by far the squishiest and easiest to distort out of cube shape among the three budget 4x4s. The Meilong 4 is not available with magnets. This makes the cube the cheapest to get by itself, but it's also the most expensive if you want a custom magnetization by a store. The cube comes with a light sandy feel out of the box, and it's actually very good on its own without magnets, and I would just straight away recommend any beginner to get the non-magnetic version of the Meilong, because it's the cheapest while being able to serve most of your needs to an intermediate level. I achieved sub 1 on the Guansu, and many other older cubers would have done that with Shengshous, and that was all before magnets even came to the speed cube market. And in comparison to the Guansu and the Shengshu, the non-magnetic Meilong is just far better than those two. So with that out of the way, the rest of the video will be focused on the magnetic Meilong, and I will assume that the magnet scheme is identical to the one used in my setup tutorial. The Meilong is a 59mm cube, making it the smallest of the three. While I do prefer the Little Magic's inner to outer layer ratio, the 59mm size of the Meilong give it the overall better dimension. The closest flagship cube that compares to the Meilong 4 will be the Valk 4M Strong. The turning style that I applied to the Meilong is quite similar to the Valk. Both cubes are generally crunchy and the magnets feel stronger on the inners and weaker on the outers. And this allows for faster edges in 3x3 stage, but it also sacrifices parity and centers by a bit. However, the Meilong's outer to inner magnet difference is a lot smaller than the Valk, and in my opinion, the magnet distribution is just way better than the Valk. It makes the inners turn a little bit more easily compared to the Valk, and it's just less restrictive, while the outers are stronger and allow for better stability and reliability. While the composite magnet strength difference is still noticeable, the cube it feels much more uniform. The magnet distribution may actually stand out as one of my favorites among any 4x4. The smaller size of this cube allows for more home grip and more 3x3-like turning styles, which I really do enjoy on this cube, and I find that my TPS on this cube is just quite a lot higher than most others. For corner cutting, all three cubes are quite close to each other. Generally, they can do just over a piece forward, and about half reverse. However, the Meilong's forward corner cutting is slightly better and reaches about 45, while the reverse is more or less the same. In my opinion, the Meilong 4M is not only the overall winner of this comparison, it also earns a spot on my best cubes list together with another cube that I've yet to review. For the general public, the Meilong's stability and reliability does make it one of the more solid choices, and it's more versatile for a variety of turn styles. The stronger magnets allow you to be quicker and more forceful when you need to, like in last layer elks, while the lighter weight and somewhat fast speed gives you an option of turning a little bit lighter. The only drawback is that it lacks a factory magnetized version. Custom magnetization by a store would likely make it more expensive than the other two 4x4s, and a DIY magnetization would have to depend on your skill in setup, as well as your magnet choice. For me, I like the small size and lightweight a lot, and I can consistently solve this cube faster than my own main, the Aosu GTS2. My average on the Meilong is a low 46, while on the GTS I average about high 46 and sometimes a 47 or 48. The Little Magic 4M will be the second cube in line that I will recommend. It lacks the speed and stability of the Meilong 4M, but it's still really controllable and has enough similarities with the original non-GTS Aosu and the Yuxin Blue. I feel like it would likely have a wider appeal than the Yusu v2M, but for me however, I actually prefer the Yusu slightly more than the Little Magic because I prefer the better speed and stability of the Yusu, and for both the Yusu and the Meilong, I can do the left ring finger D prime a lot better than on the Little Magic. And this finger trick in particular, the left ring finger D prime, is becoming a bigger and bigger part of my solves due to how I do 4th cross edge, F12 keyhole inserts, and most recently the IUD V-perm. The Yusu would be something I recommend for more accurate and consistent turners due to its weak magnets. The magnets still do their job in keeping the cube together, but you will have to be more consistent and not overshoot or undershoot in order to reap the maximum benefit of this cube. However, this cube can actually get very rewarding if you can turn accurately. On good days, I can get averages as fast as 45, but there have been bad days that I average as slow as 48. So I generally feel that the Yusu is a nice cube for casual practice and it's definitely a nice backup main, but as a main cube for official solves, I prefer something more controllable with stronger magnets.